Hello, and welcome to the second video in the Getting Started series for Microsoft Teams. In this video, we'll be exploring how to create a class Teams site. Now, the class Teams is one of 4 different team types that are available in Microsoft Teams, and I find it to be one of the more robust options for classroom activities. However, other team types may have permission setups or applications that you might prefer to have and to use for your work. We'll get into the specifics a little bit later, though. Let's begin by having a look around. We can see here that from the left app menu, there are a number of options available. Currently, I'm within the Teams option here. Once you click on Team, the Teams app within Microsoft Teams, you'll be listed with all the teams that you're a member of. So we have a Teams app within Microsoft Teams that houses our teams. Not to be confused. The other apps in the listing support work that's being done within Teams. And these other apps are the activity feed, we have a chat window, a listing for assignments, a calendar as well that shows meetings and virtual meetings, calls and files. And again, all of these different other apps are integrated within the teams that we are part of. So we'll have a look at these a little bit later. Once we click the Teams app, we'll then be listed with any teams that we're currently a member of. This view may be different for you. I'm choosing the list view, but there's also a tiled view that shows the apps in a bit of a bigger presentation. At the bottom of the list view, we'll have the join or create a team option. Let's go ahead and click. From here, we're given public teams that we can simply join using the button. And when we join, we should be able then to be added to the team as a member, and then we would follow the permissions that have been set up for members within any of these teams. So these are public teams. There's also private teams, and in private teams, there's 2 ways to gain access. One would be to enter a code that's being given to you by the owner. This would give you direct access into the private team, or you would need to be added manually with your Niagara College email. For now, let's go ahead and click Create a Team. When clicking Create a Team, we're given the 4 team types. We have a class team, a PLC team for professional learning communities, a staff team, and other. I'm going to be focusing on the first 3 to give detailed information about. One thing to note before we dive in is that in Teams, there are 2 levels of permissions. One would be for team owners, and the other would be for team members. For example, in a class team, faculty are the team owners. They create the space and add students to the space. And when they add students, students are added as team members, which for class sites means that faculty would moderate discussion and moderate the spaces in which they've created within the team. And students would typically have conversations and make postings. By default, students only have write permissions in certain areas, again, permissions to add, and edit permissions are typically restricted to maybe collaborative documents or other predefined places set out by the team owner. Also, class teams have additional tools such as assignments and grades, which are unique to that selection. These options support a wide range of class activities, including lecture capture and lecture recordings through virtual meetings, private and collaborative workspaces in the class notebook, and flexibility with assessment options given that assignments and grades are added to this particular team type. Next, we have the PLC or professional learning community. And in a PLC, the permissions are a bit different. It's set up in a way that educators can form the team. So typically teachers in here would be the team owner in the same way as before, but others are encouraged to join. And what do I mean by this? People or students can either be invited by the team owner, by the faculty, or they can join on their own as a public team. And we saw that hovering here in the background, the different public teams that were available and accessible. The PLC team functions as both a private and public space within the organization. And in this scenario, faculty and students would share by default, equal read and write permissions. Again, these can be changed by the team owner at any time. So by default, some of those more accessible opportunities for team members may be something you're looking for if you're hoping students that work independently within their groups. You would then give them the access to do so. The PLC team works well for specific course-related projects and activities, again, or other group projects, because it offers all the collaborative elements of a class team, but it's trimmed of assignments, and it's trimmed of grades, and it's also trimmed of the class notebook. So it's really a great collaboration space because it's just bare bones collaboration opportunities or applications, such as shareable documents and virtual meetings and things like that. But some of the more nuanced classroom aspects, again, assignments, grades, and the class notebook, are replaced. And lastly, we have the staff teams option. Now, a staff teams follows the class teams model very closely, with staff leaders who are indicated as owners here. They would be creating the staff team, and other staff members listed as team members within the space. And again, that hierarchy of staff leaders as owners being able to define what staff members can do within the space is applied here as well. So staff leaders can control posting settings and what staff members can see. And staff members typically have write permissions in certain areas. Now, it's good to note here that there are no assignments or grade apps here, and the class notebook is replaced by a staff notebook. The other opportunity here, the other option, simply gives a combination of different permission levels that are seen in the others. Let's go ahead and select the class team site for now. Once we make our selection, we'll then give it a name. We may also add an additional optional description, or even use a pre-existing team as a template. Once we click Next, we'll be able to add our team members. We're given two separate tabs that we can use, again, for the two different permission levels within the site. Teachers being added as team owners, and students being added as team members. So to add a student, for example, we'd simply want to type their name in or their email address into the listing. And then their name should populate from the matches. Now, I don't have any matches to add today, nor do I want to call out any students in particular for this guide. But note that it's the addition option here is tied in with the registry, and any currently registered student or student who has access to their Niagara College credentials should be able to be found and added. There's no need to know the entirety of the name. I do believe that once you get onto a good gist of typing in the student's email address, it should auto-populate with the rest of the information. Then you can simply add, and students would then be added as a listing in the bottom white space in the box. So you can always verify the entirety of the list before moving forward. Again, I don't have any students or teachers to add at the moment, so I'm simply going to skip this step. Once we've added or skipped, we'll then be landing on the general page for the teams. Each newly created team site will come preloaded with a general channel. The general channel is located here, underneath or within the team site. Channels are dedicated sections within a team to keep conversations organized by specific topics or projects or disciplines, whatever works for your team. We can see across the tabs at the top that in my general channel, I have posts and files. And we'll notice that posts and files are actually added to every single channel. These are the bread and butter, essentially, of channels, the ability to post and communicate and chat, as well as to collaborate and house files and documents. The next three are actually unique to the general channel. And any additional channels you might create for subsequent group work or for private individual students won't include a class notebook, assignments, or grades. These are seen as large classroom applications that should be housed here in a large classroom space, aka the general channel. So this ends this particular video in the series. Next up, we'll be looking at exploring the different tabs that are available within a team. That's going to be part 3 and part 4, so the next 2 videos in the Getting Started series. I look forward to seeing you there.